Saturday, January 6th, 4:01 p.m. New York time. We just finished our first week for the new year. So we'll look at the weekly charts on a 5-year chart. This is a 5-year chart, and each candle is a week. We'll also look at the Dow 30 index and the 30 companies in the index. You could invest in this as well too. The stock ETF symbol is Delta India Alpha. Delta India Alpha. So over the past 5 years for this stock index, here is the low, the year 2020. And now, all-time new high was made this week in January 2024. And here's the low of last year. Outstanding. New high, all-time new high for the stock index, the Dow Jones 30. This was accumulation, smart money buying. There was a gap there, gapped up. The gap has not got filled yet. Markup, distribution, smart money selling, markdown phase. Again, the gap didn't get filled there. Accumulation phase, and the markup. Nice. So we're going to compare it alphabetical order to 30 companies inside the stock index. Very broad sector. We're going to look at all those to see if they're making new highs for the year, all-time new highs. Again, see if they're equal or better than the Dow 30. Let's zoom in here. Again, this was the low this year. It's the high of the year. All-time new high. Outstanding. In Apple, last year, that was the all-time high there. And look at that, gap down here. And there's the low for this year. Past 5 years, there was the low all the way back then. Nice. Again, year to date, the Dow's performing better than the Apple. Next, Amgen, Alpha, Mike, Golf, November. Stock symbols are here on the top left, as well as the watch list. When I'm highlighted that watch list here, that's the stock symbol we got queued in. Past 5 years, here's the low last year. And look at this year, all-time new high, outstanding. Again, when I say all-time high, that's for this length of time you're looking at, 5 years. But for the Dow, it's the all-time new high. Yep. So huge move. Here's the low of the year. Nice, big move up. American Express, Alpha, X-Ray, Papa. Yep. The high of 2022 last year, 2 years ago. There we are now. So we're above the high of last year, but below the high of 2022. So that big green candle. There's a gap down here that hasn't got filled. Looks like a lot of accumulation here and a markup phase. Boeing. For the past 5 years, that was the high. That was the low. Low of last year here. High of 2021. And look at that. Here's the low of this year. That was the markup phase. Caterpillar, Charlie Alpha Tango. Low of the past 5 years. Low of 2022. Low of 2023. The low of this year. The high of last year. So just below the high of last year. Charlie Romeo Mike Salesforce. Here's the low of last year. Here's the low of this year. Here's the high of last year. So you determine what phase are we in right now. Is this a markup phase, markdown phase, accumulation, distribution? Where's the best place to buy? Best place to buy is in the accumulation. Second best place to buy is in the markup, as long as it keeps going higher. To trade bearish, the inverse. Cisco system, Charlie, Sierra, Charlie, Oscar. Here's the last year low, last year high, and we're inside that range. Chevron, Charlie, Victor, X-ray. Here's the low of last year. Here's the high of last year. So we're inside the range last year. And this week, past week, finally tested midpoint right there. Tested it, rejected it, closed below it. This is a consolidation. Now, is this a consolidation of distribution or accumulation? Let's fix this here too. Next. Disney, Delta Alpha, sorry, Disney. Delta India Sierra, Walt Disney Company. Yep. Delta India Sierra. Here's the high, 2021. Here's the low of last year. And this year, the first week, we're inside the range of high and low of last year. Oops, I need to fix that. Yeah, doing some renovation on my charts. Housekeeping. Yep, huge markdown. Distribution, markdown, markdown, markdown. Big problems here. That's Disney. Dow Chemical, Delta, Oscar Whiskey. Low of the last year, high of the last year. We're inside that range. What do you see here? What phase are we in? We know that was a markdown. Goldman Sachs. Here's the low last year. So we took out the high last year too. Here we are now. Nice. Yep. Goldman Sachs. The high of 2022 and the high of 2021 here. Little gap here. And that's simply in the markup phase. Home Depot. Fix this. Here we go. That's the low of 2021, the low of 2022, the high of 2023. So we're inside that range. Honeywell, Hotel Oscar November, the low of last year, the high of last year. So we're inside the range of last year still. Where the Dow, again, the Dow made a new high, all-time new high. The Dow's performing better than many of these. IBM, Delta, India, Bravo, Mike. Here's the low of last year. Here's the high of last year. Inside the range, very close to the highs of last year. Huge accumulation, more accumulation, more accumulation, markup. Intel, India, November, Tango, Charlie. Here's a low of 2022, a low of 2023. Oops, and this is the low of this year. Some house maintenance. And here's the high of last year. So very close to the highs of last year. That's IBM. Johnson & Johnson. Juliet, November, Juliet. Look at the past 5 years here. Consolidation, markdown, markup, consolidation, accumulation, markup, accumulation, markup, markdown, markdown, markdown. Again, it's struggling. Lower highs. Here's a gap. Yep. Inside the range of last year still. JP Morgan. Nice. Here's the low last year. And we made a new high. Let me update this. Oops. So we're trading above the high of last year. Nice. And above the high there. So it's a new high for the past 5 years. JP Morgan, new high. Nice. Coca-Cola. Low of the last year. High of the last year. We're inside the range of last year. Mark up, mark down, distribution, mark down. It's like more distribution, mark down, mark up. Discerning here. I have to tell over time if this is going to be accumulation or not. Overall, this was a bad area. McDonald's, Mike, Charlie, Delta. Low of last year, the high of last year, and we're inside that range. Take that later on. 3M, Mike. Low of last year, the high of last year. We're inside that range last year. Big difference than what you see. The Dow is strong trending up, not this one. Strong trending down. Manufacturing company, huge markdown. Distribution, markdown. Terrible. This swing point, which was the July high of last year, would be turning point. If it breaks above that, that could become bullish signal potentially. Time will tell. Merck, Mike, Romeo, Kilo, the low of last year, the high of last year. And oops, let me fix this. And the low of this year. So the first week of this year, huge impulse move up. Took out that August high. Nice, very strong move. Very bullish here. That candle, amazing. Microsoft, low of last year, the high of last year, and we're inside that range. But overall, the index is showing that it would be the better one. To stick with that index. Nike, low of last year. Here we are this year. Inside the range, the high and low of last year. Not looking good. Distribution, mark down, pump and dump. Looks like it's problems. Better stocks than this one. Procter & Gamble, low of last year, high of last year. We're inside that range. Travelers, Tango, Romeo, Victor. Again, same thing, high of last year, low of last year. We're inside that range. Very close to taking out that high. Nice. Time will tell if we can break above that. So this was interesting here. You had a low there, broke below that, accumulation, markup, receiver break above here. Could be a bunch of new money coming in here. United Health, Uniform, November, Hotel, low of last year, high of last year. We're inside that range there. So all this, to me, I see this as more accumulation. Yep, accumulation has been down here. Building calls potentially go higher. Visa, big trading range last year, low of last year, high of last year, very close to the high of this year. Verizon, Victor Zulu, low of last year, high of last year, right there. Huge impulse move up already. Big move up, very interesting. Tested this swing high back in April. Closed just shy of it, looks like. That's interesting. Big move up. Something occurring there. Again, huge markdown. It's like Disney. Terrible. All that struggling down here. Might be one of those pumps and dumps. Again, key levels to watch this area and this area. Whiskey Bravo Alpha, Walgreens. High of last year, low of last year. Look at this. Big trading range already for this year. And Walmart, Whiskey Mike Tango. Low of last year, high of last year. We're inside that range. And tested midpoint. Well, almost tested midpoint right there from that bearish pin bar. So all this was a markup phase. And that big dump there is very concerning. Thank you as always, spending just a little bit of your time with me. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching. If you want to support this channel and get more information, deeper detail, well, you're welcome to join my Patreon page. The link is below in the video.